After the close today, VF Corp, the footwear and apparel company you know as Vans, North Face, Timberland, Dickies, Supreme, and many others, reported what we call a kitchen sink quarter. This summer, the long-struggling company brought in Bracken Darrell from Logitech. Remember him as the new CEO, and now he's got a real tough job. But he's also got a great track record. Logitech up almost 750% for the time he took over in 2013 through the time he retired this summer. You know, that's more than triple what the S&P did. Tonight, Darrell took his first step toward turning VF Corp around. The company reported inline sales with slightly weaker than expected earnings, and more importantly, it straight up withdrew its full-year earnings forecast, slashed its free cash flow guidance, slashed its dividend, and warned that Vans sneaker business wouldn't get better this year. We call this a kitchen sink quarter because management throws everything bearish in there to get ahead of things. What's the plan for a turnaround? Let's check in with Bracken Darrell, the new president and CEO of VF Corp, to get a better read on the situation. Mr. Darrell, welcome back to Mad Money.
Hey, it is so good to be here, Jim. I couldn't wait to see you again.
I feel the same way, Bracken. And I think that what you have done is taken on, like you did with Logitech, a very tough situation. You're no stranger to tough situations. Can you kind of give us a sketch about what you've been thinking in the first 100 days?
Yeah, you know, I couldn't be more excited. You know, as you said, you know, I had a turnaround when I got to Logitech. I had a turnaround long ago, my first job on Old Spice. And so I'm kind of accustomed to being there. But I'm a very long-term person underneath. And so I'm only doing things that really looking for a really long-term value creation. I really see four things that we need to do, Jim, in short order. And then we'll have a bigger strategy that will follow. The first one is our U.S. business has always lagged the rest of the world. So we're taking the same approach we've taken to EMEA and to APAC, and we're applying it in the U.S., and we're going to put it under one leader, very strong leader. And so that's step one. Number two is we're going to deliver the Vans turnaround. You know, Vans has been in a decline for a couple of years now, came off a very, very high number, now it's coming down. We're going to deliver that Vans turnaround. The third is we're going to lower our cost base. You won't be surprised at that. So we're going to do a $300 million restructuring, really reduce the cost across the board and reinvest back into innovation and brand building. And then finally, we're going to delever, lower our debt, and really strengthen that balance sheet. So those are the four key priorities. Super simple, super clear, we're really intensely after them all.
All right, so what attracted you to this? I mean, Logitech, we all use the devices. We all use them ever since you were there. You introduced so many great ones. Why this task right now for you?
Well, I loved Logitech, and I had such an incredible time there. But I was getting towards I turned 60, Jim. And so I decided, you know, if I'm going to have one more go at something in a public company arena, it's got to be something I'm excited about. And this is not just one brand. It's really an array of brands. They're household names. They're all deeply embedded in the culture. They're super powerful. And the business needs to turn around and turn back into something. These brands, we already have some of this stuff that's just on fire. I mean, the North Face is a phenomenal brand. And Vans has the potential to get back to being one. Supreme's super interesting. Timberland's like a part of the hip-hop culture. So I just got very excited about not just the categories, but the brands themselves.
Well, let's talk about something that you said as one of the top priorities. You said you have to delever. Number four, how can you delever without selling some of these offerings?
Well, we've announced that we're going to sell a very high-performing asset, by the way. It's called the PAX business. It's Eastpak and JanSport and Kipling. That business continues to do very, very well. So that is going through a sale process. We're in the middle of that now. And between that, we announced that we'd lower our dividend today.
Right.
So that's another contribution to delevering. So when you add that up with our performance, we will delever, and we will, you know, we've got two tranches of debt coming up, about $1.75 billion in total, and our intention is to pay off both those off. Okay,
now what is an analog that you can give me of a sneaker turnaround? They're hard to find.
An analog, you know, I have a lot of respect for what New Balance has done.
Yes.
You know, I think New Balance is a great story. Great story. I mean, I was never a New Balance customer, but I remember New Balance when I was growing up, and I thought of them as just a running brand. I think they've done a super nice job.
Yeah, they are doing. It's a great example of what can turn around. Now, you know, I came back from Iceland recently, and I wanted to recommend this before you got here. I said, well, I got to find this VF Corp for the club because when you're in Europe, North Face that's the most predominant brand. How can that happen again here in the United States? Can that occur?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, the bottom line is the platform that we're running in Europe has been in place now for several years. It's just had success across all our brands. So we're going to bring that platform right into the U.S. What is a platform? It's a way of doing business that basically transfers best practices across the business very, very quickly and effectively. So yeah, I absolutely think that the North Face can be as strong here as it is in Europe.
I know that you're a guy who would say, Jim, you can't look back, you just look forward. But I remember the initial VF Corp because it was very close to my home in Pennsylvania. And then I heard they had to move to North Carolina because that would be close to where the mills were. Are there any mills in Colorado? Does that move make sense in any way?
No, we're out of mills now. But the one thing that Colorado has is it's very close to those mountains, those Rocky Mountains. And the North Face is all about being in the mountains and outside. So I think from that standpoint, it's a very good fit. We also have these brands called Smartwool and Icebreaker, which if you've never tried one, they're amazing. I mean, Smartwool, it's merino wool brands that are really a certain kind of merino wool that is very, very comfortable, very warm, very breathable, and natural.
All right, well, that's a good example of something I didn't know and why I think that you're the right guy for the job. There are people who say, Jim, he's a tech guy. How could he be there? I think you're a brand guy who is very aware of fashion and what people like. That's what I always felt you were ahead of in Logitech. Am I too optimistic? Am I making statements that perhaps I'm going to regret because Bracken Darrell's going to take a little longer time than I hope he does?
My job is to make you so right. That's absolutely what I'm going to do.
Well, I believe it. I think that one of the things that you understand more than anyone is that there are brands that have a technical nature, actual technical, that people really like because they're authentic. You have got these brands. Some of them are technical, but some are just kind of like out there. And I have to tell you, when I see the Vans decline, I think, what was Vans that it became something else? It was an authentic brand, and it seems like it became a knockoff of itself.
Well, I think what Vans really was, for those, and I hope that there are some people listening who are big Vans fans, what Vans really was inside all of us, there's a little bit of an underdog, a little bit of an outsider. Not everybody, but almost everybody. And Vans really catered to that through the skater community. But it was really for all those people, whether you skated or not. And I think we got so big, and we ended up kind of catering to other people that were just purely into fashion, which is not bad, but we kind of lost our way on really making sure we're always appealing to that slightly mischievous, fun side that we all have inside.
Now, is that also like Timberland, which at one point was just the shoe that you wanted to climb a mountain with? Then it became a hip-hop shoe, but then it became kind of just another boot.
Yeah, Timberland, it's so associated with hip-hop. This is the 50th year anniversary of hip-hop. You probably knew that. If you didn't, you do now. And it's also the 50th year of that boot, of that beautiful boot. We just created a movie that's really amazing. Susie Mulder, who runs our business, and her whole team created this movie that is it's worth watching. I don't know where you can watch it yet. I'll try to make it available, but anyway, it celebrates the fact that this really was part of the culture, Timberland, and our goal is to really leverage that.
Well, I hope you will come on repeatedly because you're a straight up front guy. And by the way, I am pulling for you, okay? I'm just straight up. Not about friends, about money, but I am pulling for Bracken Darrell, VF Corp President and CEO. Hey, great to have you back on the show. Great to see you.
Thank you, Jim.
Mad Money's back after the break.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.